Since the dawn of time, the land of the Dolce Vita has been protecting one precious gem. The most fearless warriors have been defending it from being stolen. But every legend may come to an end. This weekend in Vallelunga, everything could change. Will the trophy remain on Italian land?
All roads lead to Rome, but the trophy leads to Greece. It's time for a Greek to take the Italian trophy home.
Tomorrow I race for my fans, my friends and my family. Come on! I don't care about the Dolce Vita, I'm here to win.
We're the land of the gladiators and we know how to fight. Dai Roma, vamos con todo!
Stay tuned on NASCAR Euro Series.
I know this will make some people angry. By the way, I put pineapple in my pizza.
Festive mood here at the American Festival of Rome. But if they haven't already, things are about to get serious. This is the fourth race of the season, the second race of the weekend for the NASCAR Euro Series Pro Division here at Vallelunga. The American Festival of Rome is about to reach its apex with the superstars of Euro NASCAR, the fastest drivers in the division. This is Euro NASCAR Pro, and this is a look from the front of the grid, where Vittorio Garelli sits in the number 24 PK Car Sport machine on pole position on home turf. But he's got a rival that he's raced wheel to wheel with before, and it's not always gone to plan. Liam Hasemans is alongside him on the front row of the grid. On row 2, it's the surprise story of the season. Thomas Crasonis lines up in P3. Not that you can see him, of course, because there's so many fans down there on the grid, including Andre. He's a fan too.
Yes, I am, definitely. Thank you so much, Adam. Next to me, first of all, team owner of PK Car Sport, Anthony Kumpen, a former Euro NASCAR champion. Your cars are running so smooth this season. You must be happy, right?
Yeah, so far we have a really good season. We're leading in the EN2 class and second in the Pro. We've won in both championships several races, so it's going really smooth so far. So let's hope today we start on pole with this 24 car and P3 with the 13, so let's see what happens.
I know that PK Car Sport is more than just NASCAR, it's also finding new talent, and you see we are not alone. But first of all, can you introduce him, please?
Yeah, it's Pedro. Pedro, he comes from USA. He has been racing very well down there, and his dream was to become a WSK racer and grow in racing. And we have like Racing Future Management where we spot young talents. So, and he's one of the new talents we are supporting, and he did his first race in Italy in WSK, which is the highest league of go-karting, last weekend. He has an exceptional story, you know. He got a disease, he is an amputee, and then afterwards he fights so hard to go back into karting, so it's an honor to represent him, and he's a big talent, and I'm sure we're going to hear from him in racing a lot more.
And this is what I'm going to ask you right now. Racing, what is it for you?
It's honestly incredible. I'm super happy to be the first amputee driver to ever race in the WSK, so it's honestly amazing.
What about this Euro NASCAR event? You have seen the cars already, you have seen the whole event. Do you like it so far?
Yes, it's awesome. I'm super happy to be here with PK. Super cool to be with all these cars. I love the sound of these, so it's honestly incredible.
Would you love to race one of those in the future?
I would love to.
Can you make it happen?
I can make it happen, but first we aim for Formula One, and then we see. But he's a very talented driver. You're going to hear from him either in Euro NASCAR or in any other championship. He's going to be a top driver in the future.
All right, thank you. So, you know I had to ask this question. So thank you so much. Good luck for your future. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thanks, mate.
Back to you, Adam.
What a story that is. Young Pedro Cueto, I believe he's still 10 years old. Incredible story there, as they alluded to, the first amputee to race in WSK. A really inspirational young man there. Pedro Cueto, keep an eye on that name in the future. Certainly one to watch, and quite the learning tree that he's sitting under there in the form of Anthony Kumpen and PK Carsport this weekend, and in his career generally. As you can see, swarms of fans down there on the grid, as always, for the Euro NASCAR Pro. The command, the most famous words in motorsport: drivers, start your engines, will be declared in just over 26 minutes. We'll keep an eye on that on the StromWatches.com countdown to command. Strom Watches, a new partner for this year. You're in a relaxed stance, Andre.
Tell me another racing series where you can lean on the car like this as a reporter on the grid. I'm here with Liam Hazeman, who's quite busy at the moment. But how do you feel?
Yeah, much better. I mean, today actually I'm feeling much better from because I was a bit sick, but very good. No, feeling very well. Also, the car looks pretty well, so no, actually, yeah, really pumped.
What about the event so far? I mean, you ran out of cards right now, Euro cards. Do you like it?
Yeah, I really like it. You know, Italy is always very well. Oh shit. That's not good.
There's
a bit of bleeding, but
just a bit of bleeding.
I don't know what.
How?
Too much autographs. No, no, I really like it so far. It's really, really nice. A lot of fans as usual, and yeah, well, they're of course rooting for the pole sitter, but I will try to make it quite hard for them. So it will be nice.
Okay, now I have to do it like this.
Yes.
Back to you, Adam.
That's a new one. Injured by autograph. Okay, well, Liam Hazeman's will get that sorted out. Maybe a bandage required down at Retty Jones Racing, the number 30 car. Great to have Retty Jones Racing, a fairly well-established team in US NASCAR racing, flying their flag with the help of Hendricks Motorsport in this year's NASCAR Euro Series. You see there lots of drivers signing autographs, meeting the fans, and we do have a new driver on the grid for this race. At the very back of the grid, the 72 team Blakemolen car was set to be driven by Mikael Blakemolen. He's decided not to race this afternoon. Instead, Bruno Mulders is making the step up from Euro NASCAR Open again, just his second race meeting ever. Vittorio Garelli has done a lot more than 2 race meetings.
So Vittorio, a lot of people here. Amazing grid walk, amazing weather. Italy is giving us the Dolce Vita again. How do you like it so far?
Yeah, this is always amazing. You know, home track. I have around 80 people from sponsors and friends who came to support me. So it's really, really emotional, I have to say, but hope to give them, you know, a reason to party.
How do you want to make it happen?
We'll just go for it. We have the pace. The car is good. I'm driving well. It was a tricky race one, but starting in the front is good. So we'll do our best as always, and the battle is on.
Grazie mille. Good luck. Have fun. Back to you, Adam.
There you go. Vittorio Garelli yet to reach victory lane so far this season in the Euro NASCAR Pro Division. He's got the home field advantage here, though, not to mention pole position. Surely he is well placed to make a challenge for his first win of the year. Of course, Paul Giffreau, he has 2 victories to his name. However, he's starting all the way down in 6th position because the grid for this race is set by the fastest laps from yesterday's race, and Giffreau never really got that fastest lap in So he's got a little bit of work to do with Haysmans and Gorelli on that front row, and indeed Thomas Chrysonis, one of the drivers ahead of him on row 2.
I have to say, I took the wrong clothings today. I thought it would be as cool as yesterday or on Friday. Now it's getting really, really hot. That's why I wanted to ask you, 18 laps, how physical is it out there?
Well, I mean, if you take into consideration that I'm doing double the races, it is pretty physical. But we prepared a lot for this. This is not a problem. Actually, you know, I'm pretty confident in my physical condition thanks to my coach Paul Tibas. So I really believe that in the long run I will be in a much better condition than the rest. So I expect for them to get tired and then get some positions. So yeah, I don't know. It will be a long race. Whoever makes the least mistakes will win. That's it.
It's a little bit like boxing. If you go round after round after round, if you're in a good shape, you can win.
Yeah, but I mean, it's different for everybody. Now you have Ercole and Girelli both home trying to make a victory. Liam, he's trying all this season and no result is happening for him, so I think he will push today from the position that he's starting. Paul is at the back. He will want to be again in front to get some more points. It's a little bit of a mix, you know, of a salad, but doesn't matter, you know, because everybody is stressed, they want to do something, we are relaxed, we will try to get the points, and whatever happens, happens, you know.
Strength and calmness. Thank you so much. Back to you, Adam.
Good analysis there. He's going to nick our job, Andre. Excellent stuff. Exciting to see so many fans now making their way out. That gives you a great illustration as they start to be directed away just how many people were on that grid. Hopefully Martin Dubeck is there. He had a gearbox issue in the earlier Euro NASCAR Open race. It does look like the number 7 Hendricks Motorsport car is there. He'll be hoping for no repeat of that gearbox issue here in the Pro Division. Of course, he won the race in spite of the gearbox issue. It really manifested itself at the very tail end of the race, and he just held on to victory earlier on in Euro NASCAR Open. There is the number 11 Illumatech team having their discussions. Gianmarco Ercole starting from row 2 of the grid, and we'll be watching closely his progress. He had really good race pace yesterday, which got him his first podium of the season. I'm sure we'll see more of the same. But again, Paul Giffreau, last time the winner of the race on Saturday. He will be starting from row 3 of the grid. I think we can expect quite a few drivers to make upward progression. Max Maserati's 89 car is being pushed behind the pit wall. I wonder what's going on with that car. Paul Giffreau is with Andre.
Sometimes it's like you're reading my mind. You talked about Paul Giffreau a second ago, and I'm here with him right now, the number 3 car. Not the ideal starting position, but I think you still have what it takes in the car to be at least at the podium, right?
We'll see how the race is going. We are first at the championship with a little bit of point of gap. So, yeah, for sure we want to get this race at the Trois-Rivières in Canada. So, yeah, the objective is to stay in first position at the championship. Yesterday we had a pretty strong car. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident. But, yeah, I will not take any too much risks. For sure, if there is a gap, I will go for it. But with a bit of safety place in that. But, yeah, we'll see. I think all the guys in front will be so hot, they all want to win. So yeah, Ercole is starting P4. I think he just won the win. Girelli P1. So yeah, Thomas is doing a really good job this season. So I think there will be some action in the front. So I will take the benefit of it.
All right, thank you so much. But we have to bring in some context here. We have an exchange program between the NASCAR Euro Series and the NASCAR Canada Series. Rafael Issar is going to drive at Venray. He's a Canada Series driver, and the championship leader of the NASCAR Euro Series after Venray is going to Canada to Trois-Rivières in the road course, street course race to race in Canada. Amazing times here in the Euro NASCAR.
Yeah, yet more forging of connections across the Atlantic and between the series in the United States and internationally. And the NASCAR Canada Series will play host to our post-Venray championship leader, as alluded to, at the Trois-Rivières race in in the NASCAR Canada Series, and that will be in August. So that's really exciting, and it will be very interesting to see how Raphael Lessard stacks up when he comes over from Canada for Raceway Venray. Lessard, with a good amount of experience on ovals, he might blend in nicely. Let's go down to Andre.
I'm running out of music a little bit, but maybe Fuel of Metallica this time. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that what I desire.
Oh, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. This is my, you know, not so long but hard, like this. Yes, or give me fuel, give me fire, give me that. Is the same. I need all. Metallica, ACDC, I need a little bit of Lucky. Yes, I check.
Okay, a little bit of discussions going on between Dubek and Capelli right now.
Yes, there is my sticker on in every car. So
they all have you with the thumbs up sticker on the car now. Is it that sticker with where you with your face?
No, it's the sticker with my face in every car. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck. I take also.
Now you are official too.
Back to you, Adam.
Can I have one? Oh dear, Claudio Remigio Capelli, incomparable. Well, we'll keep an eye on his progress from row 4 of the grid, 7th on the grid for this race. As alluded to there, starting just behind Martin Dubek in that right side lane when the race gets started. That car's had a couple of collisions. Bruno Mulders and him had a collision in the Euro NASCAR Open race earlier on, and as Andre alluded to, the conditions are pretty warm out there. Hello, Liam. Liam has found himself some shade, but no shade for Garrett Lowe apart from the shades, Andre.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me sum up your season so far. You come as a rookie, as a hybrid racer, sim racer, real world racer. You're a NASCAR rookie in pro, not even racing in open. 3 consecutive top 10s. How happy are you?
Pretty happy. I feel like yesterday is a little disappointed in the result, but it's because we, had a mistake in practice on Friday that cost us a lot of track time and hurt our qualifying effort, so hurt our start, ultimately hurt our race. So, yeah, still not perfectly pleased, as I never am, but yeah, we've had a pretty good success so far. 3 top 10s. We'll hopefully go for 4 for 4.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck and have fun. Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, great to see Garrett Lowe's progress. He'll be starting from 10th on the grid today, so he's back on row number 5. He'll be looking to make some upward progression from there for the promotion BS Plus competition team. That number 99 Chevy Camaro, resplendent in those signature BS Plus patterns. Martin Dubek and Claudio Capelli having a chat there under Claudio's parasol. I wonder what they're discussing. Turn 1 or perhaps the afters in a nearby bar. Maybe a little of column A and column B. Let's go down to Sebastian Blekemolen.
Sebastian, first of all about your race. Decent starting position, it's okay. What do you think about what's going to happen in this race?
Well, I see a lot of fast people in front of me. 2 Italians next to each other, almost next to each other. Oh, let's see. It will be, especially turn 2 will be hard, and also the infield. Let's survive the first couple of laps and see if I can move up some places.
But we also have something in the back of the field. Normally your father, Michael Blekemolen, should be in the 72 car, but there's a change, a driver change for this race. Bruno Mulders, who was really good in the open races so far, is taking his first steps in pro. What happened there?
Well, I think it's a good opportunity for him to learn, have more track time, to learn more and more. And he's so fast, and his overtaking is brilliant. Yeah, we will see him in the front many times in the future, I think, especially in the Pro Series.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
There you go. Michael Blekemolen will be watching from the pit wall today, then deciding to see what Bruno can do in the Pro Division. Of course, Michael and Sebastian, the eponymous heads of Team Blekemolen. In about 5 minutes' time, we'll have the national anthems performed of the US and of Italy. And of course, that's always part of that Atlantic reaching spirit in this series. As you can see, the celebrations going on. We're all very excited, though, about this race because the recipe at the front of the grid looks very compelling. And, of course, we've got drivers coming from further back as well, Andre.
Yeah, I'm here with Vladimir Ostiotzis. You have a lot of work to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, yesterday we were in front left, and now we are one place back. Okay, for me it's better, that place, because we are in the inside line. We will give our best once again for the maximum points out of this race, as the points are very important, and I am sure we will do great.
Sven, what do you think? He's capable of top 5?
Top 3.
Top 3. You have a word here. Back to you, Adam.
Oh, Sven van Laar putting the pressure on there. 11th on the grid from Vladimir Ostiotzis going into this race. So that number 64 car on the 6th row of the grid alongside David Kajaya on that row. Be interesting to see whether or not Ostiotzis can get to that top 5 or indeed the top 3. There's Thomas Chrysonis chatting away with Martin Dubek. Although with the way he's wearing the towel, it might actually be Dan Seven. I'm not so sure. But Vladimir Ostiotzis, even Taz, Vladimir Ostiotzis, 11th on that grid on row 6. Of course, behind him as well, there's some more drivers that certainly capable of top 10s. Again, I've mentioned Kajaya, Mark Goosens. He's one to watch as well. Jack Davidson's always potentially competitive. We are missing a few drivers, unfortunately. Ulysse Delso's number 14 Mustang will not be taking the start after an incident that claimed Ariana Casoli on the race yesterday. She has a minor injury to, I think, her wrist, but she's otherwise okay. Unfortunately, the car is not. So Ulysse Delso won't be starting the 14. The 34, Thomas Toffel, involved in the same incident, the 34 car, and that means no Ivan Muller. Unfortunately, this time around, the 4-time world champion benched for today's race, and Julian Reberg also, that number 77 car, is no longer able to race. So Julian Reberg for promotion, unfortunately not taking the start. We'll have to see about Max Maserati, because that 89 car was just pushed behind the pit wall earlier on, as we saw. We'll be starting from the back of the grid. Here's the anthems.
E aiutarmi facendo un coro. Grazie. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se resta delle municipio, se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma, Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se resta del municipio, se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma, che schiava di Roma e Dio la creò. Stringiamo a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamo a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì!
There you go, the Italian and the US national anthems back to back, and the countdown to the command is ticking ever lower. 6 minutes and change until the most famous words in motorsport, which will be delivered to us by our Grand Marshals for today. That will be Francesco Cassioli and Fabio Severino from Vallelunga. For now, though, the cheering going on in front of the grid, and down in the cockpits of the cars, it'll all be getting very serious. The focus needs to start. You need to program yourself out of that kind of almost happy-go-lucky energy, you know, meeting all the fans, taking pictures, and enjoying yourself. And now you got to get that helmet on, get that visor down, and focus forward. You see Liam Hazeman's getting himself suited and booted there from the outside of the front row. He'll be looking to do what we've seen a couple of times from the drivers on the outside of the front row. That is hang on around the corner. The Curva Grande, turn 2, that we heard Sebastian Blakemolen refer to earlier on. You can hang it around the outside there. Absolutely you can. It's got a fairly good amount of camber, but you do really have to have your nose ahead going into the corner to accomplish that. It's not the only part of the circuit where there is a good camber on the outside of the turn to try and hang it around the outside. And the last corner is certainly another one of those areas as well. We've seen a few drivers hang on around the outside there. Also the Campagnano bend at the turn 7. That's another area where we see drivers sometimes brake late on the outside line, hang on around the outside, and then that is converted to the inside at the near hairpin that follows. Lots of overtaking opportunities here, lots of challenges as well, and we've seen a couple of times over the course of this weekend how those challenges can sometimes affect a race. We had a lot of full course yellows earlier on in the day in Euro NASCAR Open, but between the fact that it's got such great overtaking opportunities and the fact that it is a really cool hair's breadth circuit, sometimes such small margins between glory and catastrophe around this circuit, Andre, it is a really special venue, and one that I always feel delivers us a spectacle or two across the weekend in NASCAR Euro Series.
Yeah, definitely. You see that it's one of the most challenging tracks we have on the schedule. A lot of drivers say this is the fastest one because of the long straights we have here, but also the start-finish straight is such a turn where you have to be very brave. It's not typically a braking zone after the start-finish straight. You go with this little kink, and then in Curva Grande. You know, it's a very special track that's unique in the European motorsports, and therefore a very special place. And in combination with the amazing Italian fans here at the track, yeah, the atmosphere is almost electric. I really love it.
Yeah, it's a really special place. They'll be cheering on their home drivers, of course, and they're not lacking choice. In that top 10 alone, they have Fabrizio Armetta in 9th, Claudio Capelli in 7th, Gianmarco Ercoli on row 2, and on pole position, Vittorio Garelli. It's going to be a really interesting drive for them. Also worth noting, we saw the number 89 of Max Maserati being pushed down to the pits earlier. I understand that car is now at the back of the grid, or will be starting from the back of the grid. In fact, yeah, we can see the number 89 car there, so they've got it back around and ready to go. So we'll see how Maserati can progress from the back of the field. Really interested to see what Bruno Mulders can do as well now. 2 times he has finished 2nd place in Euro-NASCAR Open across 4 races, and of course he was in 2nd place this morning when there was a collision between himself and Claudio Remigio Capelli. So we'll see how that race unfolds. And also, I mean, to a point that Thomas Chrysonis rather expertly raised to us earlier on, Liam Hasemans, he's always got the pace. He's always a contender. He's a former junior champion in Euro-NASCAR Pro, a former Euro-NASCAR 2 overall champion. But he's not really had the opportunity to showcase that potential yet this season, not to the extent that he would have done. So him on the outside of Vittorio Garelli going into these first turns is going to be a very interesting scenario.
Yeah, definitely. I think Liam Haseman has always the potential to win a race. At the moment, he's lacking a little bit of consistency to be a race win contender. But you know his racecraft, you know what he's done in the past. So it's just a matter of time when Liam Haseman is be able to have a shot at least at a race win. Maybe it's today from the first row. Retty Jones Racing, we have to consider that is also new to Euro-NASCAR, the US-American team joining the NASCAR Euro Series. But of course, the team is backed by Hendricks Motorsport, so no big changes there for Jill Insta and Liam Haseman in 30 car. But wearing those colors is maybe something different for him. And yeah, time will tell, but I think he's going to be there anytime this season.
I tend to agree with you. I would be very surprised if you went the year without a victory. Let's go down to our Grand Marshals for this race. Francesco Cassioli and Fabio Severino. We go a little bit ahead of schedule, but the most famous words in motorsports are delivered, and we are ready for action here in the NASCAR Euro Series. 20 V8 Thunder into life. If you are just joining us for the first time this season in the NASCAR Euro Series, these cars more advanced, more racy than ever before. We've switched to a 5-speed sequential gearbox from Samsonas, which has delivered us some really interesting racing so far, and I believe universally positive feedback from our drivers as well. You can see the cars ready to go once the last of the personnel has left the grid. The safety car will roll and the grid will follow. 1 formation lap and then a 2x2 formation start to kick off the grand finale of the American Festival of Rome here at the Autodromo di Vallelunga. Always a pivotal weekend in a Euro-NASCAR season when we come to Vallelunga. And for Vittorio Garelli, our defending champion, can he finally claim that first win of the season? In last year's season, it was almost unheard of to go 4 races without a Vittorio Garelli triumph. He was a step ahead of everybody in 2024. 2025, however, he has a lot of competition, but he's ahead of them all as we get ready to go racing. It will be Vittorio Garelli on pole position alongside Liam Hazeman for Retty Jones racing in that number 30. Thomas Chrysonis on row 2 of the grid. He's alongside Gianmarco Ercoli in the number 11 Illumitech racing car. Martin Dubeck with the Hendricks Motorsport Mustang, a winner despite problems earlier on in NASCAR Open. He's alongside yesterday's winner in this race, Paul Giuffreau. Claudio Capelli on row 4 of the grid. He's alongside Sebastian Blakemolen on row 4. Fabrizio Armetta looking for another strong result in his homeland here for club competition. Garrett Lowe rounds out the overall top 10 for promotion BS competition. Vladimiros Siortsis in 11th place. Podium was the tip from his teammate Sven Van Laar. David Kajaya for 12th place. Team Georgia by RDV. Mark Goosens will line up 13th in that number 1 car from Academy Alex Caffey Motorsport. Ulyss Delso will not be there, I don't think, from 14th on the grid. That chassis too damaged to continue. Jack Davidson for Lux Motorsports lining up on row 8 alongside Massimilio Lanza, another driver on home turf. Ivan Muller should not be taking the start either, unfortunately, in the M Racing number 34. In fact, row 9 will be completely empty. Max Maserati in the 89 on row 10 alongside Giorgio Maggi, and Bruno Mulders at the back of the field deputising for Mikael Blakemolen in this race. What can the young Dutch karting graduate do at the conclusion of his second ever weekend of motor racing? 5 races deep in his career, and a golden opportunity to make a statement here in NASCAR Pro. Not really reasonable to expect any more than a top 10 from that position, but we'll watch on. Vittorio Garelli, Liam Hazeman, Chrysonis, Ercoli, all there at the front of the field. You've heard Thomas Chrysonis mention it. It means so much to win on home turf, Andre.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. The Italians, they maybe want to force it. Chrysonis wants to stay calm. The pace guy is now off the track, so we're going to be on the green in a few minutes. I think a few seconds. I mean, I think it's going to be stay out of trouble in the first lap, find your position, and then just advance step by step.
Well, here we go. 2x2 formation. Drivers in their lanes. Through the wheel and start zone we go. We are racing in the NASCAR Euro Series Pro Division, the 4th race of the season, and it's a good start, a clear start for Vittorio Garelli. It's side by side between Hazeman and Chrysonis. Hazeman has 2nd position. Chrysonis under fire from Dubeck behind, from Ercoli to his left, but he remains in 3rd place for now. Now Martin Dubeck tries to get into 4th place and succeeds at doing so. Gianmarco Ercoli falling back a position there. That's not the start he would have wanted. Claudio Capelli is side by side for 6th place with Paul Giuffreau as well. Expect Giuffreau to be trying to make headway in the early stages. It's Vittorio Garelli though that leads the way. He is in the exact position he'd have wanted, and he's already got a car length or 2 over Liam Hazeman. Garrett Lowe, meanwhile, going around the outside of that 55. Fabrizio Armetta, the 69er Sebastian Blakemolen runs it deep into turn 8, just about stays on something like tarmac and will rejoin the race, but a long way down the field. Armetta and Lowe continue to fight it out on the fringes of the top 10. I believe that will now be for 8th position as they continue to battle. Vladimiros Siortsis just behind them as well, looking to get involved with all of this. But at the front of the order, it's Garelli, Hazeman, then Chrysonis. And that is exactly what Vittorio Garelli wanted from his first lap.
Exactly, and we had a very clean start here so far. No crashes, no touching, no bumping. It was really, really clean. The only driver lost a lot of position, and we saw, I think, Max Maserati going into the pits again, so more troubles for the 89 car. But the only one losing position was Sebastian Blakemolen. They went 3 wide in this technical section, and yeah, there's no space for 3 cars in this hairpin, and therefore one of them had to suffer. Oh, and again, it was Paul Giuffreau a little bit on the grass there, but he could keep this car on the track. And also now the Jack Davidson in the 21 car, a little bit off track, but he kept it safe. Amazing maneuver.
Well, if he didn't get an espresso, that will have woken him up a little bit, won't it? On the dirt section, that doesn't actually exist, but he made a dirt section. They're going towards the 4th and 5th corners of the lap. The 55 car still under pressure. Garrett Lowe has been on the offensive for the entirety of this race so far, in 9th place in the 99, but Fabrizio Armetta, always a good defensive driver, likes to get those elbows out, and always impresses me with his racecraft, actually, Fabrizio Armetta. He remains in 8th place for the time being. Now, what can Liam Hasemans do up against Vittorio Garelli here on race pace? That's going to be a big question. Of course, the other big question that will answer itself continually through this race distance is who has good tyres underneath them. These tyres on the cars have done the full qualifying session from yesterday, the full race from yesterday, and are now going into what will be, in a lot of cases, towards the end of the race, 40 laps of action here around the Autodromo Vallelunga. And so certain drivers, I think, will have a bit more in reserve than others. I wouldn't mind betting, actually, that Paul Giffreau has some of the freshest tyres at the sharp end of the order, as we see there Max Maserati coming back out onto the circuit in the back of shot. But Giffreau, I think, will have some fairly fresh rubber, because he, granted, didn't get a very fast lap in during yesterday's race that he won, but he was managing the race, I think, from the front for an overwhelming majority of the distance. So I wouldn't mind betting that he has a bit more grip in reserve, especially in the latter half of the race. For now, though, Vittorio Garelli about a second clear at the moment of Liam Hasemans. Looks like Vladimiros Siortsis, though, has aspirations of getting by the Dutchman.
Yeah, I think that Giffreau may have some better tires there as well. I totally agree, because he was managing the pace in the first race, never was under pressure really, so he could manage the pace. The only thing is that the track position wasn't there, with only 6th on the starting grid. That's also a problem. In Euro NASCAR, track position is key for a good result, but we saw in the past you can also make a lot of passes, especially here in Italy. There are a lot of passing opportunities around this track, so it depends a little bit on if Giffreau can capitalize on those tires and make the most important passes early in the race. Right now, Garelli is opening the gap on Hasemans, and then we have a nice fight for 3rd between Thomas Krassonis and Martin Dubek. Krassonis goes defensive in the 13 car, Dubek in the 7 behind, tries to make the crisscross maneuver stick, but that doesn't work out for now. So it's Garelli, Hasemans, Krassonis, Dubek, and in 5th, Gianmarco Ercoli.
Yeah, Ercoli rounding out that top 5. He'll have been disappointed to lose out in the early stages of the race earlier on. Oh, goodness me, did you see Claudio Remeggio Capelli there? Fully sideways into Curva Grande. I get the horrible feeling he hasn't got too much tyre left based on that. Capelli, who is very familiar with this Vallelunga circuit, one can expect him to be on the pace here, but he hasn't really had many opportunities this season to really show his potential. He's had drama after drama, especially in the Open division this year. It's Garelli from Hasemans, from Krassonis at the front, and Krassonis was applying all the pressure in the world to Hasemans a lap ago. It's now kind of the opposite problem he's got. He's got Martin Dubek, Ercoli and Capelli all on his rear bumper. And you have to keep a watching brief on that. Max Maserati appears to have stayed out there now that he's come out of the pit, so hopefully Maserati can at least get some laps in from the rear of the field. But Martin Dubek means business here. He got a win earlier on with a gearbox that was letting go at the very end of the race in Euro NASCAR Open. And of course, he wants another win here in this race from a 3rd row starting position. That might be a bit hard, but at the very least a podium would be on the agenda here for Martin Dubek to really put a cherry on top of a good weekend here in Vallelunga.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we see the same we saw yesterday in the pro race. In 1 second you're attacking, and the next second you have to defend your position. It's really close together, everything. The field is, of course, here and there are new groups, but in those groups the battles are really intense. Here we have Garrett Lowe and Fabrizio Armetta. We see this battle going on now for the whole race long. So Ameta still in front of the 99 car, and Garrett Lowe tries it again, and as well we have Capelli and Ercoli fighting it out for 5th position. 2 Italian drivers, and yeah, Capelli at least snuck a little bit to the inside. It was not a committed move right now, but he at least showed himself in the rear mirror of Gianmarco Ercoli, applying a lot of pressure on his fellow countryman, and in the next second Ercoli may have a chance to attack a Dubek. That's the spirit of the race in pro so far, because everything is so close together. The level is really, really high in this championship, and that's why we see a lot of great battles.
Yeah, absolutely. And Garrett Lowe is on the frustrating end of this battle, isn't he? He's been trying to make his way around this for quite a while, trying to get Fabrizio Armetta in his rear view mirror, but it's proving to be anything but simple for him at the moment. Really interesting race going on here, and of course, as with everybody else, yes, he has to worry about what's going on behind him as well with Vladimiros Siortzis. Jack Davidson looks like he's having problems in the background. I saw some smoke going through the S's, and it looks like he's peeling into pit lane, unfortunately, from 11th place. So Jack Davidson may well be out of this race, or at the very least out of contention for a top 10 finish. That will move Bruno Mulders up to 14th position, if not 13th. He was troubling Max Lanza on that outgoing lap. Indeed, he is up to 13th place. So Mulders closing in on a top 10 as well.
Capelli and Ercoli still very close together. Ercoli defending the inside lane right now. Capelli, yeah, had a look to the outside, but yeah, still he doesn't find any way past the 11 car. But there was a little bit of a lockup now for Ercoli. They're side by side, exiting the corner, side by side on the next straight, but the next corner should be the advantage for Ercoli.
I think Claudio Capelli recognised what was about to happen. He was going to get bounced onto those sausage curves by Gianmarco Ercoli, but then Ercoli kind of ended up on the sausage of his own volition there, coming out of the corner. That gives Capelli the opportunity to again hound the rear of the number 11 Illumatech racing car. Capelli and Paul Giuffreau both there in waiting for an opportunity, and of course Giuffreau in particular, if he does have some excess grip in the back pocket thanks to preserving those Hoosiers in the race earlier on. Well, it's lap 6 of 18. We're at 1/3 distance this time across the line. He needs to get by and use that advantage if it is in fact there for him. But it's going to be very difficult to get past those two up ahead. That much is obvious. For now, though, Ercoli remains just ahead of Claudio Meggio Capelli. It does strike me that Gianmarco doesn't seem to quite have the comfort in the car today. That 11 car's been through a lot in the last 24 hours with the NASCAR Open races as well, from which it withdrew from both. So hopefully the balance isn't too bad. You saw him struggling there through Curva Grande as well, just about held on to it ahead of Claudio Meggio Capelli. But I don't think Gianmarco Ercoli necessarily has an A1 car underneath him.
Yeah, the car looks pretty loose at the moment. Every time he's in a very fast corner, you see the rear of the car becoming a little bit unstable, but at the moment Capelli has no chance to capitalize on it. And you said it earlier in the open race, you have different lines here at Autodromo di Vallelunga, and we saw Giuffreau when he was close to Capelli trying different lines to gain more momentum on the exit of the corner to maybe make a move then on Capelli, but at the moment Giuffreau is losing a little bit, and I'm surprised by that, because we both agreed that he may have a little bit of better tires than everybody else, because he didn't have to fight yesterday in the race and he could manage the pace, but at the moment he has no chance keeping up with Ercoli and Capelli. But there are still more than 12 laps to go in this race, so a lot of time for Giuffreau maybe find the right window for the tires he has on his car. So it's maybe a matter of time, but at the moment he's not competitive enough to keep up with Ercoli and Capelli. And up front we see that Hasemann's closed a little bit the gap on Garelli, right?
Yeah, he definitely has. It came down just on a lap ago, really. The gap was out around a second, then it went down to 0.57 last time by. It's not shrunk particularly since then, but it's certainly not gone up either. Another 10th down actually on the gap, so within half a second is Liam Hazeman's 0.476 off the back of Vittorio Girelli, but you don't need the numbers on the timing screen when you can see them this up close and personal going through the corners. To circle back to Paul Giuffreau for a second, obviously yesterday he made a remark to you that he felt the engine wasn't particularly strong in that car, that he was losing out to some of the others. And well, it's difficult to take that seriously almost when it's coming from the man in victory lane, but maybe there is something to that. Maybe that's part of the reason why he's struggling to make his way up the field today in this race. We'll have to see, but for now, Gianmarco Ercoli and Capelli still one of the most compelling battles on track, along with that battle for the lead. Chrysonis and Dubek a little bit lonely for the time being, although I don't think Chrysonis is by any means out of the hunt for the race lead right now. But Gianmarco Ercoli seems like the man doing the most driving through the mirrors at the moment, as Capelli again kind of angling, hinting, speculating towards the inside line there at the hairpin. And Claudio certainly looking racy, as he always does, quite frankly. If he's in a pack, he's in a battle. It's that simple. But Gianmarco Ercoli for now a few car lengths clear after I think Capelli just cost himself a little bit of time there trying to look at going on the offensive. Let's see what the gap is this time though across the line between Vittorio Girelli and Liam Hazemans, because that is another developing battle certainly. Gap has gone out a little bit this time, 0.7, so Girelli found a little bit extra on that previous lap.
I have to go back to Giuffreau. I have maybe another factor that comes into play. Yesterday he had clean air all the way. This time the car is in dirty, and you know that the balance of the car changes when you have more wind going around you, more airstream going around you, and maybe this car is not that good in dirty air than it is in clean air. But now we have Capelli. He's diving to the inside. Ercoli trying to defend on the outside, but Capelli has a lot of momentum there.
Can he use it on the outside line? Gianmarco Ercoli will surely, well, he's later on the brakes anyway, and again I think Claudio Remigio Capelli doesn't want to give Gianmarco Ercoli the opportunity to squeeze him wide onto those sausage curbs on the corner exit, because if he does that, of course, well, Paul Giuffreau is going to go straight past him, isn't he? So Claudio Remigio Capelli is trying to attack while being measured here and not lose that position almost by default, skittling across the sausage curbs and watching Paul Giuffreau jet by. But Gianmarco Ercoli really having to wrestle away at the wheel of the number 11 Illumitec car. The Alex Caffey Academy Motorsport Mustang directly behind him. Claudio Remigio Capelli. Again, 1 minute he's defending from Giuffreau, the next minute he's on the attack. Paul Giuffreau, I think, will be getting a little bit frustrated with this as well from behind, maybe feeling like he's got an arm tied behind his back somewhere because the car doesn't quite seem to be switching on in the same manner as those ahead of him. We go on to lap 10 of the race. We've got 9 laps in the books so far, and it's worth noting that while we watch this at the front, Hazemans is again within half a second of Vittorio Girelli, so the ebb and flow this time in favour of the Dutchman.
And we have 2 different worlds in Pro and Open this weekend. In Open we had different incidents, a lot of full course yellows, but in Pro at the moment we see really nice and fair battles, almost zero contact between the drivers. Of course, a little bit of rubbing is racing, but that's part of NASCAR, it's part of stock car racing. But what I like in Pro, that we have those close battles without anybody going over the line, over the red line, and therefore we have very clean racing, a lot of green flag runs, a lot of stress also for the tires, of course, there. So tire management plays an important role, and we see that Girelli is not able to maintain the gap that he built at the beginning of the race. Then it was a little bit smaller, then a little bit bigger, and now it's again just, what is it, 2/10 of a second. So Hazeman is really able to keep the pace or match the pace of Girelli at the moment, and then it will be all for the tires at the end of the race. Who's going to have the better tire set underneath their cockpit? Is it Girelli in the 24 PK Carsport car, or is it Liam Hazemans in the 30 car of Retta Jones Racing? But it's amazing battle for the lead there.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now Hazemans of course, sits 10th in the standings coming into today's race. He's 33 points off Paul Giffreau in the championship lead. Already, this is going to be a big seismic movement, I think, in the championship. Giffreau is going to lose almost all of his championship lead if things finish as they are. But for Hasemans, this could be such a huge profiting day if he can just find his way past. Jack Davidson comes back into the pit lane again. We've seen him in a couple of times. I think Maserati is back in as well as Mark Goossens. He's gone walkabouts during this race as well. But for Hasemans, this would be the way to kind of kick your championship back into gear. You've got that one drop score, and if the drop score that you drop is the one from yesterday, where of course he had his issue with the car and ended up pulling in with a suspension issue. If that can be the drop score and he can get those podiums, those victories in from here on out, he could be a very big factor in the championship going into the remainder of the season, and indeed, of course, going into the playoffs, the double point scoring playoffs at the end of the year. For Hasemans, I think, as much as he's a fun-loving guy, he's someone who never wants to affect someone else's race. He's never going to be that kind of almost old school touring car or NASCAR villain. He's not going to be the intimidator. He's not going to be, you know, someone willing to push someone off the circuit intentionally for gain. I grew up with the BTCC. That happened a lot. But Liam's not that kind of kid. He'll race fairly. However, he will be acutely aware of how valuable that lead would be for him right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the story, how he became a racer. He's coming from a racing family. His father, Twan Hasemans, was an endurance or is an endurance legend, still in the paddock, still around, watching his son race. His brother Loris Hasemans is racing, and of course also Mike Hasemans. So everyone in this series are racers, but Hasemans tried tennis first, and then, yeah, it was in his DNA. He had to go racing, but he started very late, and he was very successful in his first car racing season here in Euro NASCAR. He got the Euro NASCAR Open title. He proved to be one of the most aspiring talents we have in the Euro NASCAR paddock by winning the junior trophy, and he's one of the title contenders. And you said it before, consistency is key in Euro NASCAR. Those wins, they are important, but it's more important to regularly end up in the top 5. You can afford one mistake in the regular season because you can drop that result, but if you have already one bad race, you know you have the pressure that you cannot afford any more mistakes during the next races. And we're going to have an oval race in the regular season as well at Raceway Venray end of June before we head into the summer break. And this oval race is of course always a unknown territory for the drivers. Last year we had only one caution in 2 races, but it can be completely different this year. Oval racing, of course, part of the NASCAR Euro Series in the Netherlands at Raceway Venray. It's going to be spectacular, but if you have a mistake, you need to be there on top of the standings as well. And so you have to be good at road course and oval racing if you have already made a mistake early in the season.
Paul Giffreau is starting to make his way forward. He's gotten past Claudio Remeggio Capelli a couple of laps ago, and now Gianmarco Ercoli is under scrutiny from the RDV competition driver. Bare minimum that yesterday's race winner wants out of this is a top 5. Gianmarco Ercoli is the man standing in his way. I think much further progress from 5th would be very difficult at this juncture for Giffreau. He's a good 5 seconds or so at this stage back from Martin Dubeck in 4th position. However, he is right there now on the boot lid of Gianmarco Ercoli. Ercoli, though, as we know, is very good at making a race car wide. He goes deep there into that turn. That could be a little bit of an error, actually. Just maybe scrubbing his own momentum a little bit, going into the stadium section, about to turn into Semaforo here, and again, Ercoli feeling the need to go immensely defensive, and that means every corner, every line, that little bit cleaner for Paul Giffreau at this juncture. But Ercoli needs to not leave that door open, because if he does, Giuffreau is absolutely going to walk through. Let's see what Giuffreau can do. He's gone past Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Let's see if any challenge can come. Interesting as well behind Capelli that Armetta there in 8th place has actually managed to gap Garrett Lowe after all of Garrett Lowe's attempts at getting around Armetta. It does seem that Armetta now maybe has, again, slightly fresher tyres underneath him, and actually Vladimiros Siortsis is challenging Garrett Lowe. So we'll keep an eye on that too, but for now, Ercole and Giuffreau very close together.
Yeah, I think we reached the time where the different tire conditions come into play, because they have now a lot of laps on those tires, the drivers, and therefore it depends on how you manage the tires so far. And I think we reached the time at the end of this race, the last 5 laps, that there we see the differences between the drivers, how they preserve the tires or how they were on attack mode. So Giuffreau trying again, but as you said, Ercole really good in fending off the attacks thrown by the Frenchman in the number 3 car. At the moment, Ercole is able to defend the 5th position, but I think there will be more attacks to defend, to fend off in the coming laps. We are now into 5 laps to go in the final phase of this race and in the final phase of the NASCAR GP Italy 2025.
Yeah, exactly. Battles coming to a head at this stage. And you can see there Giuffreau again watching as Ercole makes sure to be as wide as possible. And it's interesting, Gianmarco does just seem to find a way to not ruin his exit in spite of kind of being all over the track all the way through the corner, doing a really good job of defending at the moment. They'll complete lap 14 of the race this time by. It will be 4 to go in the NASCAR GP Italy, the 4th race of the season ongoing here. This is the Euro NASCAR Pro Division, the tippy top of the Euro NASCAR scene, going head to head. This is the battle for 4th position. This is Gianmarco Ercole, the 5th position. Gianmarco Ercole, the 2023 champion, holding off Paul Giuffreau. That top 5 place being held onto by the scruff of its neck by Gianmarco Ercole, the lead being held onto by Vittorio Garelli. Liam Hasemans is on the offensive there. We'll try and keep an eye in the background as well to see if a move is made between Ercole and Giuffreau. I think Giuffreau was to the inside there of Gianmarco Ercole going into the Campagnano bend. We'll have to see whether or not there has been a change of position for 5th place as well, because it looked for all the world like Giuffreau had a good run heading up the hill towards Campagnano. We'll wait and see. Confirmation of that will emerge in the back of one of these shots, surely. But Vittorio Garelli is under immense threat, and no, Giuffreau hasn't found a way by yet. He's still relentlessly pressuring Gianmarco Ercole, so that fight's ongoing. Here is Giuffreau looking to the inside, can't get it done there. Ercole drifts wide, Giuffreau gets a good run out of the corner, still can't make it happen. 3 to go in just a few corners' time. Hasemans and Garelli going at it at the front, 5th and 6th under contest 2.
Yeah, what an amazing race so far. The Pro, I have to say, really impressed me this weekend and also this whole season long. Really clean battles, a lot of green flag runs, almost 0 cautions. This is exactly what we want to see. Close, intense NASCAR, stock car, touring car racing, and that's what those drivers in a Pro deliver. It's time for me to go to victory lane and welcome the winner later on. So we will see each other back again downstairs when I grab the microphone.
There you go, Andre Viegold heading down to victory lane from there. Thank you very much, my friend. The last 2.5 laps or so then left to go. We're still watching Paul Giuffreau making himself large and very noticeable in the mirrors of Gianmarco Ercole. The lead battle will still be going on as well. Interested to see where Hasemans is in relation to Vittorio Garelli. But for now, Ercole just going defensive. Giuffreau having a little look to the inside there, going into the near hairpin bend that is Surat. And now towards the infield section here, this tight final sector. Real circuit of 2 different halves, 2 distinct characters within this circuit layout. Giuffreau is knocking on that door again and again. He just can't find a way in. The 11 car remains ahead for now. Looks like they're both closing in a little bit on Martin Dubek as well, whether Dubek is starting to struggle a little bit towards the end of the race regarding those Hoosier tyres that are now quite old, having done the earlier race and the qualifying session. Gap across the line between the top two was 0.4 of a second still, so Hasemans remains behind Gorelli. 2 laps to go. Hasemans is running out of time if he wants to make a bid for this race win. Vittorio Gorelli, of course, knows this circuit, the Autodromo Vallelunga, like the back of his hand. He did his first taste of race cars here in the Vallelunga circuit. He has been part of the fabric of this circuit, really. This remains kind of his local motorsport community, if you will. Giuffreau again having a look to the inside of the back of shot there with Gianmarco Ercoli. So Ercoli having to watch the mirrors, Gorelli having to watch the mirrors too. Hasemans a few car lengths back. He shouldn't challenge for the rest of the lap from there. Oh, and some lap traffic up ahead. That will have just slightly unseated Gorelli. Ercoli remains clear of Paul Giuffreau for the time being. Giuffreau definitely had another little nibble to the inside. Final lap of the race begins this time by Gorelli and Hasemans cross the line. Still about 4 to 5 tenths of a second apart as they go through Curva Grande. It was 0.389 last time by for Hasemans, about the closest that it's been in this race, fractionally so. If Hasemans has anything left, any tricks in the backpack, he needs to unzip it and show us. Gorelli from pole position has led this race cleanly so far. Has Hasemans got something to challenge with on the final lap? Certainly gets a good run there out of Campagnano Bend. Just that final sector to go, and that final sector laden with second gear corners and hairpins and turns that beg you almost to make a desperate lunge. Is Hasemans going to play the long game though and consider that this would be his strongest result of the season so far? 5th and 6th in Valencia. Struggled here yesterday. Gorelli though, feeling the pressure, getting a bit loose there. Through the Torrentino hairpin, through the S's they go. Surely Hasemans has run out of opportunities now. Just the Roma bend left to go here. And it's been a valiant effort from Liam Hasemans. But it will be, for the first time this season, our defending champion, Vittorio Gorelli, who sees the checkered flag first. It's a victory for Gorelli. Hasemans takes second. Krasonis on the podium in 3rd place. Martin Dubek takes 4th position. Ercoli did hold on to 5th at the expense of Paul Giuffreau. Capelli 7th. Armetta in 8th. Garrett Lowe in 9th place ahead of Vladimir Osiortsis and Sebastian Blakemolen. Bruno Mulders, meanwhile, crosses the line in 12th place after fighting his way through the tail end of the NASCAR Pro field from the rear of the grid. But Vittorio Gorelli, for the first time this year, he will be heading to victory lane, and respectful racing between himself and Liam Hasemans. Hasemans was definitely trying to find a way in that final lap, but the opportunity, the clear opportunity, never beckoned. And Liam Hasemans did not force the issue. It's still going to be his first overall podium of the season, his strongest points haul of the season with 35 points for second place. There was no need ultimately to go above board and possibly risk getting on the wrong side of not just Vittorio Garelli but also the home fans here. Of course, with that race in the books, Thomas Chrysonis' record of winning a race every day of the season across Pro and Open has come to an end. But all the same, third place, a very good result for Chrysonis. Vittorio Garelli wins for PK Carsport. Retty Jones Racing's Liam Hasemans takes second place ahead of Thomas Chrysonis. Martin Dubeck follows up his victory earlier with the strong fourth place in the Pro Division. Gianmarco Ercoli rounds out the top five despite the best efforts of Paul Giuffreau. Claudio Capelli takes seventh, just ahead of Fabrizio Armetta, who was coming on really strong for club competition at the end of the race. Garrett Lowe and Vladimiros Siourtis rounding out your overall top 10 here at the Autodromo Vallelunga. There you see the 24 car gaining acclaim by manner of broomstick, seemingly, by Hendrix Motorsport. The 24 car makes its way into victory lane. No e-scooters present in victory lane this time. It will be thunderous PK Carsport Chevrolet Camaro, the number 24, back to victory lane when it's been driven by Kumpen, by Alan Day. It's been a winning car, and of course that has continued in no uncertain terms with Vittorio Garelli over the last couple of years. This is his first win of the season. The defending champ. And he really kicks off his winning ways in 2025 in the best way possible by doing it at home, doing it in front of his home fans. He will still be second in the points. Well, he was third in the points. He'll move up to second in the points. With that race win, by my estimations. He'll be a couple of points behind Paul Giuffreau still, but all the same, it's a good effort from Vittorio Garelli and firmly establishes that he will be continuing that rich vein of 2024 form this year. No doubt of that going into this weekend, of course, but still, just getting that first win on the board, getting himself closer to the championship lead, really valuable. But winning at home, winning in front of his friends and family and sponsors, that means more to him than just about any other race win, you can tell. Sometimes he's quite a reserved young man, Vittorio Garelli. But not now. This is party time for Vittorio. Dipping into other languages to express himself a little bit there. Launches himself at PK. And I believe we're beer showering here. This is going to be quite an evening, I think, in Campagnano di Roma. Vittorio Gorelli will be one happy man. He's reserved, he's focused. But right now it's party time. The shades will go on, the demeanor will cool down for the camera. But you can tell how much it means to him. I believe we are pretty much ready to go down there. So, Andre, if once you've captured him fully, we'll go down to you as he hugs Anthony Kumpen.
Okay, we are here. Normally we call you the Iceman of NASCAR. Zero emotions, but that was something else. Why?
Yeah, it was really, really hard race. Liam was very fast, so I really didn't do any mistake. He was on fresher tires because he did 6 laps, so he was basically on new tires, but it was tough, to keep the rhythm. I tried, to a few laps cool down the front tires. They were overheating again. And then I pushed a bit, a bit of like a spring, But yeah, I was sideways every corner. I really fought this, but so happy for, thanks to my sponsors, all the support here. We have around 100 people, friends and sponsors who came to support me. So very happy. Thanks to them and to my team. They deserve this. We struggled in the beginning of the season, but the car was spot on. Thanks to PK.
We saw a lot of fans cheering your name when you came into victory lane. Did they carry you through the corners? Did you did you feel the support you have at your home race? And what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I had a lot of pressure because, a lot of people, a lot of sponsors. My main sponsor came here to watch me, but the tension was good actually because I had really high focus and did no mistakes. So happy for that. For sure we will have a good party tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations, you're your NASCAR Pro Race winner, Vittorio Gorelli.
Vittorio Gorelli doing his own transitions from camera to camera there. Great to see him so happy. Of course, it means so much in front of this many people, near and dear to him, near and dear to his campaign here in the NASCAR Euro Series. The local announcer getting the fans to cheer on their hero. Vittorio Gorelli slapping in every moment of the adulation here at the Autodromo Vallelunga. A party atmosphere unfolding here in Victory Lane. You see there Anthony Kumpen enjoying himself as well. Kumpen, I think, continually lapping up the benefits of this partnership with Gorelli that started at the beginning of 2024. And the beverages aren't being drunk so much as they are thrown at the moment, but it's all part of the hydration process. The Italians wanted a home winner this weekend, and they have got one, much to their delight. Saw young Pedro Cueto down there as well. Of course, he will be enjoying this as well. Maybe a look into his far distant future. The young man being managed by Anthony Kumpen, looking for single-seater glory at this early stage of his career, but who knows, we might see it in a Euro NASCAR one day. Paul Giffreau is with Andre.
Yeah, thank you so much. One of the gladiators in this race. It was an amazing fight with Gianmarco Ercoli. You couldn't get past him, but how much fun was it?
It was really fun, yeah. Gianmarco is one of the most respectful drivers on the grid, so I respect him 100%. As I told you, I wasn't in the race taking all the risks possible because we were first in the championship. So yeah, I just wanted to see if he was doing mistakes. I didn't want to dive bomb him because he's a good brake. He's good at brake, and it was too much risky. So yeah, we are really happy with the team to this P6. Could be worse. Yeah, at the start it was really tough with all the drivers. There was moving a lot. So yeah, I lost a place on the start, and then I was able to overtake back Claudio. And yeah, and then after with Ercoli, I was able to catch him up, but he was well defending, so I wasn't any chance of me to pass. I tried some things just to see at the last lap, but yeah, he was a great defense. So yeah, and, congrats to him, and yeah, it was a nice battle.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations, Paul Giuffreau. Back to you, Adam.
Yeah, great fight we saw from Giuffreau. I think he'll be a little disappointed with P6 ultimately, but it's still strong points with the point system going 40 and then down by 1 from 35 to 34, 33, 32, etc. Being 6th versus being 4th or 5th isn't necessarily the hugest of gains, and sometimes I think that does lead to drivers keeping their powder a little bit dry, and I think we might have saw that to an extent from Giuffreau. I think if it was worth more points, he would have had a go at it. Just saw Liam Hazeman's on an e-scooter. No such issues for Thomas Krasonis.
And we are here now with Thomas Krasonis. Another really good weekend for you, right?
Yeah, it was... I told you, we were very prepared, thanks to my sponsors, Kostamare, Dodoni, my coach, Paul Tibas, my trainer, Alon Day, and my team, PK Carsport, and especially Gunther, Jarne, and Bavo, and Anthony, the team boss. Everything went as we planned. We tested here, we were prepared. I told you to make a good, clean start, to get away from the trouble. Then, you know, Liam was pushing a lot with Vittorio. Vittorio won his first win of the season, also Liam. So I said, okay, we have a very good gap behind. Let the race finish. Maybe they are fighting and I'm catching up. Maybe not. We were on a good spot. So, yeah, all good. We take the points. We go now to my favorite track, Brands Hatch. Be ready, eh? I'm giving you a promise. Brands Hatch will be awesome. See you guys soon, eh?
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. And we keep on going with the interviews. Liam, can I get you for a second? What a race. You had a little bit of better tires underneath, for sure, because you didn't have so much laps on it from yesterday. You put a lot of pressure on Ghirelli. What was missing to get him?
No, I think I was at the maximum this time. Like, really, there was nothing more. Didn't do any mistake, but he didn't do any mistake as well. So, yeah, he just drove an awesome race. I tried everything, but no, they just drove an amazing race. So, yeah, happy for him. I tried to put the pressure, but it was too good today.
How is it as a race car driver? You cannot see anything but his back bumper the whole race long, trying to find a gap. What goes through your head during those laps?
It's annoying. No, actually, it pushes you, because the whole time when you get a little bit closer, you don't lose too much of a gap. You're getting there, so it gives you motivation. But yeah, then it's to the first one to make no mistake, and he just drove an awesome race, did 0.0 mistake, he didn't lock up, nothing. So yeah, I really tried to push him into one, but no, he just did a fantastic job. Congrats to him.
Still a very good second place. Liam Hazeman's back to you, Adam.
I like that. It's annoying. That was a very honest comment there from Liam Hazeman. But he'll be happy with second place, as we said, his best result of the season so far, and that will do him good in the point standings as well. That'll elevate him up the standings quite significantly. I think he'll break potentially even into the top 5, certainly the top half dozen with that result. Claudio Capelli is with Andre.
Yeah, thank you so much. We need to close the playlist we created over this weekend. I would say it's time to say goodbye, at least to Italy.
It's time to say goodbye, yes. But this is not a very rock song, but it's a classical. It's a classical. You want to know about the race?
Yes,
yeah. Okay. I'm very happy. I had the pace of Jimmy. That is his track. Everyone say it's my own. On track, but I live 600 kilometers from there. I race here once a year, so for me it's the same like Hazeman was the other one. But I love this track. It's a long way to the top. Okay, I don't finish the way to arrive to the top, but it was funny. I know that I had the pace, so I didn't try nothing strange with Jimmy because. I did a bullshit this morning. Bullshit is
okay.
Okay, I did the bullshit this morning, so and so I want to say I want to finish with a smile, not with like this morning.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. I think we have the next hometown hero coming up next from Rome. Max Lanza, home race done in the books. How was it for you?
Yeah, good. But I had some problems with the manage of the tires, and not easy race. But I'm happy. Second place in the Challenger Trophy and another P13. It's good. I'm fighting with the most hard drivers in the world, so it's good.
All right, thank you so much. Enjoy this evening here at your home track, and I think we can have the next driver here. David Kajaya is next to me. How was your race on this race weekend for you?
Yeah, it was really strange because in first race I had some electrical problem, and I didn't drive. But now in second race was strange race for me because in very first lap I think I broke my rear left spring, and I drove without springs. The car floating like crazy. It was really difficult to save the car everywhere, and I am happy that I finished the race at the end. Anyway, my shock absorber was broken, but I finished the race and I am here.
All right, thank you so much. Hopefully next time a little bit better than we will see at Brands Hatch. Back to you, Adam. We start now with the podium ceremony.
Excellent job there, Andre. Kept the interviews flowing down there in Victory Lane. They kept approaching you at the right moments. A pit reporter's dream. Yeah, the podiums will be underway in a few seconds here. The fans gathered to witness Vittorio Garelli celebrating a home win, his first of the 2025 season, and it would be a bold man, a brave man who doesn't value his own cash, that bets against a second, maybe even a third Vittorio Garelli win before too long. Of course, Thomas Chrysonis alluded to it earlier on. Next up, it is Brands Hatch. Here in the NASCAR Euro Series. Thomas Chrysonis says it's his favourite. A lot of drivers enjoy it too. Of course, for Chrysonis, it's almost a second home for him. He started cutting his teeth in car racing in the UK. And the turnout among the British fans in the NASCAR Euro Series at the American Speedfest is so huge. It's one of the biggest events of the season at Brands Hatch, of course, the former home of the British Grand Prix. It's a circuit that hosts a lot of major events, and that trip to Brands Hatch is a highlight for us and a highlight for the circuit as well. Of course, Venray, Most, Oschersleben and Zolder to come. But we are about to welcome our drivers onto the podium. Indeed, here is Thomas Chrysonis to the podium. Liam Hasemans to the second step. His best finish so far. Vittorio Garelli takes the top step. Cool in the shades, but I think that's a very happy man. We saw all of those celebrations earlier on, the sheer delight of that victory. Doing some camera work while he was at it there. Vittorio Garelli with the strap-on camera on his cap. Really soaking in the moment there. You could see the passion as he belted out his anthem. And here are the presentations then for the trophies. Liam Hazeman's receiving his second place trophy. We've already had, of course, the third place trophy to Chrysonis, but the big one goes to Vittorio Garelli. And he will be the most successful driver this weekend, of course. He was on the podium twice with that win at the end as well. Oh, getting the youngsters out of harm's way for the champagne spraying to come. They pose for that fabulous photograph. And now for the champagne. Chrysonis won that race to get the bottle open. PK Car Sports, of course, doubling up on that podium. A 1-3 finish for them here today. And a lot of celebrations to come in that garage. But there's the big trophy. Vittorio Garelli claiming the win on home turf in that number 24 PK Car Sport machine. Next up, it will be the Junior Trophy presentation. Of course, Liam Hazeman's winning the Junior Trophy aspect of today's race. Paul Giffro and Thomas Chrysonis will join him up there on the podium.
For the fastest driver of the event, the winner is Vittorio Garelli.
But before that, of course, we have the fastest driver of the day presentation. Marco Raggi from TJ Titanium Jewelry, providing the titanium ring to Vittorio Garelli, which denotes that he is the most successful driver, the fastest driver of the event. And what have we got in there? A little creature of some sort. Stuffed creature, I believe. But Garelli receiving plenty of accolades and presentations on this day.
And now we are for a Junior Trophy, Euro NASCAR Pro 1 drivers up to 25 years.
Time for the Junior Trophy presentation now, I believe. Indeed, Paul Giffro making his way onto the podium, third within the under-25s classification, the Junior Trophy for this race.
Second position,
Thomas Chrysonis with the runner-up spot in Junior Trophy. And Liam Hazeman's on top in that classification. The trophy's now being delivered. I believe Thomas Chrysonis will be closest to home here at Vallelunga this weekend, so hopefully he's got some support with him this time around as well. But Liam Hazemans receives the junior trophy, win, and the silverware to boot. And again, that second place will be valuable going into the circuit where, of course, he claimed his first ever Euro-NASCAR win at Brands Hatch in Euro-NASCAR 2, as it was, Euro-NASCAR Open back in 2022. We can always expect him to do well at Brands. Next up will be the Challenger Trophy. That's for the Grade C drivers, the amateur drivers that compete within Euro-NASCAR Pro. Your winner in that today was Claudio Capelli. But first onto the podium will be David Kajaya. Kajaya in the number 9. New formation for Team Georgia, now backed by RDV Competition. And the former European Touring Car champion on the third step of the podium. Second place to Massimiliano Lanza. Max Lanza celebrating. But Claudio Remigio Capelli on the top step in the Challenger Trophy. A solid end to the weekend for him. And ever the showman, I'm sure he'll enjoy being in front of the biggest crowds of the year next time out at Brands Hatch for the American Speed Fest. Here we are, the presentation made to Claudio. Oh, and he's got himself a present. Show us. Show the camera, Claudio. You're trained for this. What have we got? Show us. Show us. Ah, I think that's a nice little sign that he's had made for him there. Challenger Trophy winner, Claudio Remigio Capelli. Next up will be the Endurance Teams Championship, which is an amalgamation of the 4 races that have come before in Euro-NASCAR Open and Euro-NASCAR Pro as one long endurance race. The 4 classifications merged into one, and so the most successful driver lineups across the weekend are rewarded there. It might not be a surprise to you that that 24 car has come out on top. Vittorio Gorelli and Thomas Dombrowski have both had very good weekends. In fact, in terms of that classification across both Euro-NASCAR Pro and Euro-NASCAR Open, it is a 1-2 in the standings for PK Car Sport. The PK Car Sport team really looking like the squad right now. It's a close run thing. There's a lot of strong teams in the NASCAR Euro Series, but truly they are in rich form at the moment. RDV Competition taking the third step. Paul Giffreau and Patrick Schauber, along with their team boss and PK Car Sport number 13 crew celebrating as well. Of course, Chrysonis, the only driver there. So Alan Day has stepped up to fill the role of a driver. There's the series boss, Jerome Galpin, enjoying the scenes from Victory Lane. Will be the number 24 PK Car Sport team that comes up next. It looked like Thomas Chrysonis was having to fetch some people, but he has found them. Vittorio Garelli and Thomas Dombrovski there, sharing the top step of the podium. Both drivers on good form at the moment, and again, Dombrovski came very close to a win today in the Euro NASCAR Open division, just a few tenths back at the end from Martin Dubeck, and one would suspect that his first win overall in Euro NASCAR Open is not far away at all, especially with the help of his friend Vittorio Garelli. It seems that there's a concerted effort within PK Car Sport at the moment across those three drivers competing in both divisions to raise the ship and bring the team to a new level. And that's exactly what they're doing at the moment. A highly successful weekend for PK Car Sport, a highly successful weekend for Vittorio Garelli. Paul Giffreau will, as I understand it, mathematically still be the championship leader here in the Euro NASCAR Pro Division, but he has his work cut out for him going into Brands Hatch. He's going to be a busy boy, as they all will, around the frenetic 1.2-mile Brands Hatch Indy circuit. That will be a thriller. Let's take a look back at the highlights, though, from Vallelunga. And the race got underway with a perfect start, realistically, for Vittorio Garelli. He would be followed through Turn 2, Curva Grande, and indeed he'd be followed for the rest of the race by Liam Hasemans, who was very much on the case across that race. In third position there in the early stages was Thomas Chrysonis, and Martin Dubeck managed to move up to fourth position as well. And unfortunately for Gianmarco Ercoli, who ended up losing that P4 through the first few corners, fifth place was as good as it was going to get for the Illumatech Racing driver. You'd have to make his car exceedingly wide, though, thanks to the efforts of Paul Giffreau, who was trying every which way to break into the top five. What could he have done with what we think were probably fresher tyres? What could he have done if he'd gotten past Gianmarco Ercoli? Could he have challenged Dubeck? Could he have fought for the podium even with Chrysonis? It's all up for speculation. We never quite got to see it. Hasemans and Garelli would race hard all race long, but it would be this man, Vittorio, on top. And he would celebrate in style the emotion from the Italian on his home turf at the circuit where it all began. It was a really important day for Vittorio Garelli, his first win of the season of this title defense year in 2025 after claiming his first Euro NASCAR Pro crown last year. And with a win on the board, he'll move up to second in the standings. And that concludes our broadcast here today. Make sure you join us next time, the American Speedfest on the 7th and 8th of June at Brands Hatch, one of the highlights of our season, one of the highlights of the UK motorsport calendar. It's an event quite unlike any other on these shores, and we look forward to bringing you all the action from that, the 5th and 6th races of both the Euro NASCAR Pro and Euro NASCAR Open season, of course, starting a busy month of June for us that also includes the Venray Oval. The rest of the calendar on screen for you as well. Make sure you come along to your closest event of the year to see all of this action up close and personal. Unparalleled excitement and access in Euro NASCAR. Make sure you join us on TV if you can't be there in person.